Hello everyone. So I've got kind of a interesting lock here today. It's a little unique in its security features. I'm going to butcher the name, but this is looks like Kale. I think it's Kale. Kilit 164 BNE. It's the model number. Rolls right off the tongue. This is a dimple lock. I'll show you real quick one that's put together. Looks just like this. So nothing too unique there. But I've got one half of it all taken apart, and I wanted to show off one of the security features because I did think that it was kind of interesting. So this lock has 10 pins. It's got 5 on the top. It's got 5 on the bottom. So 2 rows, but rather than being next to each other like it is on a lock like a twin star, the rows are opposed to each other, and that's what plays into the unique security feature of this lock. So let's grab my tweezers here. So as you're looking at the drivers, the thing you should probably note is that the drivers are not super unique. There's 2 spools that would be on the top, I guess. They go into the Bible. And you can see down here the key pins and the drivers that are on the opposite side. The drivers are very, very tiny. And the reason for this is that they have to fit into the bottom right here of the lock. So there's no room for them really. Now, the kind of interesting thing here is that if you look at the plug, I think you can probably see that. The holes go straight through all the way. So the top and the bottom rows are completely opposed to each other. So the tips of the driver pins touch. So in a real stack inside the lock, the orientation would essentially be this. The spring going down there, and you have a spring up here. So right here, this is what's happening inside the keyway. Is the 2 key pins are touching each other. Now, the spring up here is much larger than the spring down here. So what ends up happening inside the lock, and I'll show this in a second, is that this spring pushes down, it forces this key pin to its maximum, I guess, reach into the keyway, and it pushes this key pin all the way down such that it ends up starting off overset when the lock is at rest. So just to demonstrate that, I'm going to drop these key pins into the plug here so that you can see what that looks like. Okay, so I've got both the key pins in there. You can kind of see them touching each other. Now what's going to happen is when I push it, this key pin right here on the top to its maximum reach, you can now see that that bottom key pin is sticking out of the plug. So this bottom driver, again, starts off overset. So this key pin is what's going to reach into the hole inside the lock body. So that's kind of a weird thing to have to deal with when you're picking, because if you tension the lock, you turn the plug, and then you lift, you take your tool and you lift this particular key pin, right, so that they're not touching anymore. Your tension has locked this key pin into place, and it remains overset. So in order to pick this, what you have to do is while you are lifting the top stack, the drivers over here, you have to kind of pulse tension so that these pins over here will loosen up a little bit and either fall into a proper set position or allow you to tap them. They'll move more into the keyway and be underset again like they should be, and then you can set them like normal. So that's the hard part of this lock. If it wasn't for those key pins touching and one side of them potentially starting off as overset, This would be a lot easier to pick. So kind of a unique security feature there. You can see on the key the way the dimples are oriented. So in particular on this one, this first pin right here, this when you insert the key into the lock, this would be the bottom stacks on this side, and this would be the top stacks on this side. So this first key pin right here, that's going to be the one that's going to start off overset, because you can see this is a deep cut, so it should be technically a no lift. So just to give you an example of what that's going to look like. But yeah, it was a little tricky to figure out. It was kind of weird feedback. The first time I picked it, went really fast, and I thought, oh, this lock isn't too bad at all. And then it actually took me quite a while to get my second pick. So it was definitely more complicated than I thought it was going to be. I think I just lucked into the first one. So anyway, we'll get over to the next section. We'll get it up in a vise, and you'll see it picked. There we go. All right, this is open. Let's get this gutted. I'll relock it real quick here. I should probably shim this. That seems like the safe thing to do. And I'm going to shim the top and the bottom, because there should be pins on both sides. Alright, let's try this at the top. I can't get the shim in the both sides there, so. Alright, follower 1 is too big. This is an odd size. This is too small, but might be better than nothing. Oop, oop. Pieces everywhere. Terrible, terrible. Okay. Alright, so I lost a couple pieces here. That's a bottom spring. There's some drivers. Okay, I'm gonna dump these before I get too far here. And here's my bottom key pins. Okay. Nothing special in the plug there. Alright, this poor disaster here. Top spring. Top spring. You can see the bottom, the drivers here at the bottom. Not having a follower that was the right size was clearly a mistake here. So, but let's get the rest of these out. Whoop. Launched one. That was a spool. There's the bottom pin. there you go. There's all the pieces, if nothing else. This thing's going to be not super fun to get back together. I can already tell. I've got one spring still in here. Let me see if I can fish it out. Alright, that last spring does not look like it wants to. Oh, it's out already. That's why. Okay, there we go. Alright, here's the pinning. And I'm going to adjust the zoom for the focus here. Alright. So you can see the pinning there. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, the difficulty of this lock is again that the fact that you have those facing pins that push each other into overset. So you can see right there, those holes go straight through. So those pins, the upper pins are pushing into the lower pins directly and force them into an overset position at rest. So that was kind of a weird lock to pick. I'm not sure how I feel about that one, but there you go. That is I think a Kale Kilit 164 BNE.